everyone, and welcome along to the Getting to Know You series. Everyone needs to be on their best behaviour now because the head of services is present, Danielle Hickey. Welcome along, Danielle.
Thank you. Does that include me?
That includes you. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's sunny. It's December. Are we in the Christmas spirits?
I actually am, I am. I'm really looking forward to it this year. Some family time, some downtime, presents. What's not to like?
Okay, but it's just I don't see any Christmas tree in the background or any decorations.
That's this weekend's job.
Oh, is it?
That, yeah, and it's my husband's job. If I'm being brutally honest, I get asked to leave. The perfectionist does it because it's a bit chaotic when I'm around. So yeah.
All right, I thought you'd be all over that.
No, it's I get excited, but then after a while I'm like, this is boring now, and he likes everything just so yeah, I like coming home and it's all lit up and nice. So that's this weekend's job.
Is that a log burner behind as well?
It is, yeah.
Oh, nice. So that will look very Christmassy.
Over there. This is our music room. Our disco room.
Nice. So you can put a bit
office.
Some Christmas DJing going on at the time.
You never know.
All right. Okay. So I just want to get to learn a little bit about you, Danielle, and perhaps you can give us a little bit of a time lapse of some of the roles that you've had within Inspire. Actually, before we get into the whole knowing you a little bit more, I thought for anyone who doesn't know, we received some outstanding news, which as a result, the BBC decided to write a little bit of an article about it. As the head of services, would you like to share that outstanding news for those that may not be aware? I mean, you'd obviously have to be living under the rock not to know, but yeah, do you want to?
I would love to, because I've let, obviously, and fully rightly so, David Lucas and Emma Foster tell everyone because as services manager and deputy. But yeah, I'll take this one. East Lancashire had an unannounced CQC inspection a couple of months ago. I can't remember the exact date, but the results are in and we were rated outstanding, which is not a surprise to me because it's a cracking service. Every time you go in there, you can just feel warm. You end up belly laughing. Everyone really cares. It's really well led. It's everything. So I'm not entirely surprised, but they're not easy to get, and they got it. So yeah, really proud moment for us in Lancashire. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just put that into perspective, what kind of achievement that really means to the service overall, because like you just said there, it's not something that's handed out willy-nilly, is it?
I think there are only 5 or 6 in the organisation, and we're one of them. And I think we were rated 3 because it's in the key line of inquiry. There are 5 of them. We got outstanding in 3 and good in 2 of them, and apparently that is no one has had that. So yeah, we smashed it, and it's a real recognition of the people who work there and how incredible they are, but also our service users who have the courage to come in and get help and work with us. So yeah, it's a great outcome.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, and that goes thanks to everyone from meeting and greeting, volunteers, peer mentors, recovery workers, team leaders, all doctors, medics, everyone. So yeah, really, really, really well done to everyone there, and let's hope it continues. So anyway, back to my initial question before I rudely interrupted with that fantastic news. Would you like to share some of the roles that you've done at Inspire? Just a bit of a time lapse so we can kind of get a bit of a picture of when you came into Inspire and what sort of roles that you were doing.
Yeah. So I started working with Inspire with Change, Grow, Live about 7 years, 4 months ago. And my first job was project manager at our Blackburn with Darwin service, and that was a really great role for me because all my frontline work had been in prisons previous to that, and it was my first time really immersing myself in a community service, and I just learned so much, because bear in mind, in prisons, little things like, we don't deal with prescriptions, that they're just done, you kind of just doing the psychosocial part of it. So I learned so much at my time in Blackburn, and then I went away from Inspire for a little bit, and I got the deputy services manager role over at the Wirral, which was another cracking experience. A really big service.
Oh, I forgot you were over there. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah,
I went over there for a little while, probably a couple of years. Again, really developing my leadership, I think, there, and a really different vibe over in the Wirral. In Lancashire, we're quite bolshy, aren't we? And bold and blunt.
Yeah.
And in Wirral, it's very different. And so I feel like I was able to develop myself there a lot. And then I came back over to Inspire again to the Blackburn with Darwin service as services manager. And then from the 1st of April this year, I was successful in the head of services role. So I've been there ever since, learning my way through this role.
No, so there's been quite a few jumps from here to there, and obviously you would have learned a lot along the way, especially going to different areas and stuff. You did touch on it just then, so the question that I had really for next was, what were you doing before you came into Inspire? So you said it was prison work then, was it? How long were you working there for, and which prisons was it?
So I started working in prisons in 2001, so a really, really long time ago. And I started in HMP Manchester, Strangeways, some people know it as. So that's where I kind of learned my trade, quite new out of university, really, quite young in those days. And I've worked in quite a lot of prisons. So I worked at Strangeways for a while. I worked at Hindley, which at the time was a young offenders. And I worked with the juveniles, so the 15 to 18-year-olds, and that was quite an experience. And then I went back to adults, and I got a job in Preston Prison. So I had my first child around about then, and it was just easier kind of from home and everything. And I was at HMP Preston for a really, really long time, probably about 12 years. And we got cheaped over to Phoenix Futures. And that's when I got my first kind of manager job. I became the team leader at HMP Garth, which is a long-term Cat B prison. So, men in there that are serving a really, really long time. So even going from Preston Prison, which is a local jail, people in and out to this long-term establishment was like, all right, that's different as well. And then I progressed with them again to more into the community. So it's kind of a prison and community role. And then I came over to change where I live.
Brilliant. So I'm always intrigued to understand how people get into this sort of field and this kind of line of work. What's your story there then?
So it's interesting, isn't it? So there was some lived experience for me that make me really attracted to this role and to supporting people that go through what our service users go through. So there's that definitely influences it. There's also I'm quite a political person, and when I talk about this, I always feel like I sound really cheesy, but it's really genuine. It's about social justice. So there are a lot of people in our system that just don't get the support they need and deserve.
Yeah.
So I think this is the best job in the world. Like, I absolutely love this job because we get to advocate for people who really need us, and then when they get well, they're extraordinary. So you see these miracles happening all the time, and I just think that that's really incredible. I'm probably the only person out of all my friends that really looks forward to going to work. I'm all right coming back off leave. I get quite excited about it. So but doing that stuff, it's spiritual and it's meaningful, and you feel like you are making a change and making a difference and really helping people. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but that's genuinely it. Seeing that makes me really happy.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's cheesy. I really don't. Okay, so you're head of services, right? I think that's right. Yeah.
That
okay.
still feels weird.
Yeah. I actually just double check just to see if I get, because there's that many titles going around and stuff. I'm just making sure I got that right. So that sounds quite a cool role to have. Which I would imagine obviously comes with its responsibilities.
Yeah.
If you had to sum up what a head of services does or is, what would you say what a head of services is for anyone from outside
I think
looking at it?
Yeah, the beauty of my role is that it's different every single day.
Yeah.
Like there's that, you know, like I couldn't give you a typical day because
No, of
every day
course
is really
not.
different.
Yeah.
But where I'd say I am is, so for me, I'm head of services for Lancashire. So all the services we have in Lancashire are in my kind of portfolio. So we have North, East and Central. So I support the services managers in terms of like line management, but also supporting in terms of how we deliver service. I guess it's a bit more of a strategic role though. So I guess I'm more like outward facing. So relationships, strategic development, partnerships, and that kind of thing are really crucial to my role. But I do get involved in operations because I do think like you can get too far away and then you kind of lose touch with what's needed and where people are at. So I do try and keep my
Get your
hand
in, yeah.
and then I guess there's like the CGL side of it as well. So I see my role as supporting our directors. It's kind of like a role between directors and services. So, you know, in terms of like, you know, Northwest is a huge area for Change Grow Live.
Yeah.
So I work with, there's two other heads of services and we kind of work together with directors on our regional plan as well. But then I also get involved with stuff with CGL centrally. So I've been heavily involved in our developing trauma informed services group and our wellbeing at work group. So it's kind of like service delivery, regional plans, and
Bit of
CGL
everything.
centrally. So yeah,
Okay.
it's hard to sum it up, but that's how I would say it. So you know, working with in Lancashire, especially like working with commissioners and you know relationships there are really important to my role. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. I wasn't. I mean, if you just come out with like one sentence of what your job is, I'd be a bit concerned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was such a role like that. So no, it totally makes sense. So I was just wondering what sort of, and I kind of really only touched on it before. I was going to ask you what sort of tasks or outcomes make your role enjoyable, and I think the fact that you said making a difference in people's lives and stuff, that I'd presume it would be something similar to that. Is that?
It's definitely that. But I guess for me, it's you know if the people who get our service get the outcomes they want, then that is I feel like I've done my job well. So you know that can be anything from like so a piece of work that we're working on at the moment is creating the conditions and culture to deliver trauma informed services. So I think people, it's quite trendy at the moment, isn't it? Trauma, and a lot of people say it. But for me to be truly trauma informed, our staff need to be really looked after. So it isn't just about our service users, although they're incredibly and the most important thing. If we're not looking after our staff through a trauma responsive lens, then it's kind of a big waste of time.
Yeah.
So that's like a big piece of work that we're looking at across Lancashire, and I feel like that's you know if we and I don't think you ever can say right well we're trauma responsive now. It's always an ongoing thing, but when we get to a place where people are talking about it and our staff feel looked after and supported and their well-being is good, then again I'll feel like okay we did something good there. But I guess with my role it's always like a team effort because I'm working with so many different people to achieve things. So yeah, it's just being a small part of that bit, those pieces of magic that happen.
Yeah, and I kind of saw that with you because I mean you invited me to the I forgot the name of the meeting now. It was like a strategic meeting, wasn't it? Where that I attended in Preston with yourself and everyone. It's an area where people can give you updates on what's happening in their field and stuff. And I saw that you were gleaming with some of the input from what some of the staff, especially some of the new recruits as well. So that must be quite nice to feel that you know it's in capable hands and you know.
I think, and I am biased because it's our service, but I think that we're incredible. Like so, you know, to give more context to what you've just said, we've got a lot of roles across Lancashire that are like the strategic lead. So, for example, we've got a strategic lead for reducing drug-related deaths. We've got a strategic lead for employment training and education, for quality, you know, and there's loads more. And I'm sorry for anyone that's watching that I've missed out, but just otherwise we'd be here all day. But yeah, in terms of making sure that we communicate and that we all know where we're at. We have that meeting every 6 weeks, and I leave it every time just thinking, oh my God, we are so ace. Like what we do is so cool. We got the people that work for us in Lancashire, whether they're a recovery coordinator, an administrator, one of our strategic leads, just feel so lucky to work with all these really cool people. We do a really good job, hence outstanding CQC rated inspections. So yeah, I do. I get giddy after those meetings because we do some really cool stuff.
Good. Yeah, no, I second that. So what sort of advice would you encourage anyone maybe wanting to progress within the company or organization? Maybe not necessarily hours as such, but what kind of core skills do you think someone needs to have? I mean, you've gone from one job to another within, and you progressed through that system. What do you think that has given you that kind of edge to maybe get to those positions?
So I think it's like always being open to feedback. Like feedback. Again, it's another really cheesy thing, but
no,
like I've had a lot of feedback, and I've had to be open to it, accept it, and work on it. And that is what will help anyone develop into wherever they want to be, because there's always something that we can be working on. A massive one for me, and anyone that knows me will be like laughing at this, but I'm quite excitable, get quite passionate about things, and what happens when I get like that sometimes is that I can talk over people. I don't wait for people to finish. I'm not really listening to them, truly listening. I'm just waiting for them to finish so I can say my bit. And I've had that feedback a lot, and I've had to really work on that. That's just an example, and everyone else will have something that's unique to them. But that for me is the key thing, is being open to that, being able to reflect on that, and being open to doing what it takes to develop. And sometimes that's really uncomfortable, hearing those things about yourself, because it's sometimes it could be a character, but yeah, that's what I'd say the main thing is. But it's obviously like also as well, like taking opportunities when they come around. So any learning experiences are going to be really valuable for anyone's development. So whether that's a training course or an opportunity to shadow somebody in a role that you think that's the kind of role I want to do, take those opportunities to learn more about it and learn what you need to do to get there.
Yeah, because I'd imagine you probably had your fair share of unsuccesses as well along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so you've asked for that feedback then to develop
that's exactly it. You sometimes you don't get where you want it to go. You get some feedback. It feels rubbish.
Yeah.
You're a human being. You've been rejected. You've got your ego like there playing it out. But after a minute, you're allowed that as well. That's all right to feel like that. That's perfectly normal. But after a minute, having that time to reflect and think, right, well, what can I do to improve in that place? And sometimes as well, when you don't make it, it's just literally a case of who you've been against. That person just might have had more experience. They might do, it's sometimes you just picked by somebody else, but another day it would have been your job, and that's life, isn't it?
Of course it is, of course. But one thing that I've noticed for you, Danielle, is over the years that you're genuinely a very happy, positive person, and I don't know how you do it, but obviously it's infectious on people. I mean, I just wanted to know what you actually put in that coffee of yours, like.
I know. Sometimes, I don't know how I am always happy. I'm a very optimistic person.
Yeah.
I am proactive though in my own happiness, in my own well-being. Like I do a lot of exercise to relieve stress. And I'm really lucky. My family are amazing, and I've ended, despite quite a rough start in my teenage years, I've ended up in a good place. So life is sweet. So what's not to be happy about? And just trying to keep that perspective is really important, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for answering those questions, Danielle. You provided quite an in-depth picture of your role and a little bit about your background at work. I just wanted to nudge our focus a little and get to know you a little bit more away from the head of services. So the first question I got here is if I was to ask your best mate, what is Danielle like? What do you think that they would say?
Loud. Likes a good time.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about my best friend now, and she always says to me that I'm always there when she needs me.
Yeah.
You know, for advice or just to be an ear. So I feel like, yeah, I'm a good friend in that respect. I'm loyal. But loud, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes into my mind.
Okay. All right. No, nice. Tell me something about you. Maybe a story or something that like a hobby, something that not many people know about you. Is there something that, you know, people at work might not know that you do this, or a story or something? Is there anything that
About a
comes to mind?
hobby. About a hobby.
Could be a hobby or something that you do that we don't know. Could be anything.
I'm quite an open book, so most people
Oh yeah.
know most things about me. I think people are always really like fascinated. I do pole fitness. And people are always
pole fitness, sorry.
Yeah.
You can't call it pole dancing then.
I mean, you can call it that. That doesn't offend me at all,
Right.
but I feel like some people get like a vision of that is not what I do.
Right.
But yeah, people are always like quite like, oh, you do that, and what's it like? Because it's quite a different hobby, isn't it? You know.
Sure, yeah, of course.
But like, I absolutely love it. Like it's like when I go there, it's really good for my soul. I just felt really happy. And when your body achieves something that's quite difficult, it's like this really good like feeling of achievement. So yeah, that's often the thing, because I do a lot of exercise. Like, fitness is really important to me in terms of my own mental health.
Sure.
And like being healthy, trying to be the healthiest version of myself. But pole is like, yeah, my quirky one that I find really funny.
Yeah. No, it sounds great. I mean, you must have so much core strength to do that, because I remember back in the days when I think we used to go out on nights out, and there was a particular bar that had these poles, and you start prattling around a little bit, and you try to mimic it, and you just fall off, don't you? Straight away, like, you know, some of the guys think they know what they're doing. Yeah.
You've got to be strong, and you've got to be able to like handle pain. Like, I'm constantly full of bruises. I have bruises everywhere. So yeah, you've definitely got to have that. And like, some days you'll go and you just not feeling it, and it's hurt, and you just think, well, I'm not doing that. But some days you go and you think, I can't believe I've done this. So it's a really good feeling, and it's like really nice environment, like just surrounded by all these really ace women who are not competitive. You don't worry about what you look like. Like, we don't say the word fat in our studio, you know, like, it is just like, we are women who are strong, and we're doing this, and we all support each other, and I love that. Like, I really love it.
No, it sounds like a really cool vibe, that. Okay, so what kind of child were you when you were growing up? What did you I'm finished yet. What did you want to be or want to do? So that's kind of a double-ended kind of question there, but if you want to sum it up.
I was a loud child, so there's a theme there, isn't it? I was always getting told to quiet it down. I was a wild child. There's no getting away from it. If my mum sees this, she'll be nodding. Like, I was really mischievous. A real risk taker. And as I got into my teenage years, I was wild. There's not. I probably won't give you any more detail than that. But I did tend to like do well at school and stuff, and I've always been quite ambitious. I always actually wanted to be a journalist or a writer. Wow. I always wanted to do that growing up, and then.
In what, particularly anything, or?
No, I didn't really know. I just
really
just a journalist, wanted to write. I was always really into reading, and and I used to my favourite game when I was a kid was like, I would edit magazines. So I would sit there like marking magazine. But but then I did a law degree. This probably tells you a bit about me. I'm very impulsive. So I did my A-levels. I thought, I'm going to do a law degree just out of nowhere. I didn't do a law A-level. No. And then it took me down this other track. I guess. But I'm really glad that it did. I'm sure being a journalist is wonderful, but I really feel like I found what I should be doing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Brilliant. So my next question then is during lockdown and COVID times, and again, it might be something that you've already said, so let me know if it is. What hobby or interest did you take on, and are you continuing that hobby or interest?
So I wouldn't say I took it on because I was already doing yoga and I really like yoga as well. But I used lockdown a lot to master the headstand. And I managed to get like the headstand, and then I started splits, and I'm still working on my splits. I'm like this close from my splits now. It's really close. So definitely through lockdown, I did a lot of practice on headstands, moving on to splits, and I'm still working on them.
You can do the headstand now then quite comfortably. Without a wall, you mean? Yeah, without a wall.
Yeah. That's all your core as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. Wow. I don't know if I could do it comfortably right now. Don't
worry, I won't ask you to do it.
Yeah, but I definitely did. I definitely did get it. Yeah.
And so do you continue doing yoga then?
I do. I really yoga again is like for someone like me who's quite chaotic and fast-minded. It's been really good to calm me down a little bit and give me some grounding. And it's probably the only thing that I do that when I'm in there, I don't think about anything else, like work or family. I literally am just there.
You're in the zone.
Being me, but yeah.
Okay. But until the kids come back in and start.
Yeah. Well, because I'm out at the studio, so they can't get in there, luckily.
Good.
and you're not allowed to take your phone in, so it is just like an hour away from the road. So
brilliant.
Yeah. I also did this room in lockdown. This was a hobby that we took up as well. It started off like let's buy some new throws for the settees in here, and next minute we had the carpet up. There's wooden floors, everything was redecorated. So this was also a hobby.
I think DIY across the nation was kind of like what everyone was doing. Yeah,
so, definitely.
I know that's definitely what the missus were banging on about. I'm terrible at DIY, but yeah. What is the? Oh no, whoa, I've skipped a question there. If you had to sing a duet with a famous singer, who would it be with?
Well, just so I could meet him.
In your music room.
Yeah, well, see, my favourite band in the world is Primal Scream.
Okay.
And the lead singer is called Bobby Gillespie.
Right.
So I think I would choose him just because they're my favourite.
Okay.
And I've had a lot of practice singing Primal Scream songs, so I reckon I could do that pretty well.
See, I've heard of Primal Scream. I've not heard much of the. I probably have heard a record.
I imagine you'd hear some and you wouldn't know they were Primal Scream. That's usually what happens.
Yes.
But yeah, they're my favourite band. I've been to see them a lot since the 90s, and I actually did meet him. I went to he wrote a book, and I went to he did like a talk on the book in Manchester.
Yes.
And I went to get my book signed after, and I was so nervous and anxious. I was like literally like really like girl fanning over him. But yeah, I would choose him because that would just mean I could hang around with him for a little bit, which would be really cool.
It's so weird because I was on my Facebook yesterday and on the adverts it came up with, is it Noel Gallagher? What's his band called?
The Birds. Birds, and he's got Primal Scream supporting.
Yeah. So it's so weird how you just said that because it came up yesterday when I was looking through. So
I'm gonna send you some songs to listen to.
Okay, well, do you know what? I was actually gonna go on Spotify after this and just flick some tunes on just to see if I've heard any of it. I'm sure I have. Okay, so you kind of already said this, and you probably don't want to answer this one. What did you do as a teenager that makes you cringe now?
God.
You don't have to answer that one if you don't want to.
So many things.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, this is probably like a little bit serious, but now I'm the proud mother of a wild child.
Yes.
She's like 20. She's coming out of it now, but she was like I tried everything for her not to be like me, but she turned out to be everything like me. And I do cringe a little bit because I used to think my mum was like dead shallow, and I used to say to her, "Oh, you're so shallow," like, and things like that to her. Like, she didn't really get my world, and now I'm like, "Oh, I really get what you mean now," and sometimes that makes me cringe a little bit. Like, and I have actually said to my mum, "Is this what it was like for you?" Like, so yeah, but I did like the usual thing, like when I cringe a little bit at, like, I used to climb out of my bedroom window and shimmy down an oil tank, and I think,
my God.
that's probably.
I thought that only happened in like the movies or
Oh
something.
no, that was me. Yeah, trying to
the
get
boyfriend
out
with the ladder up.
yeah, trying to get out to one party or another usually, but yeah.
Oh dear.
That's as far as I'm going.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's keep it clean. Okay, so you have mentioned this already. Have you ever met a celebrity? So I know you mentioned about Primal Sleep, but have you ever met a different celebrity, or which celebrity would you like to meet?
I have met some celebrities. I met, Ian Brown from Stone Roses. I've met him a couple of times. I met Bez once from Happy Mondays. I've met Shawn Ryder. I've met quite a few people.
Have you?
Who would I want to meet? Oh, there's so many, isn't there? Like, there's so many cool people. Do you know, he's like, I'd love to meet Mick Jagger.
All right. Yeah.
Like Rolling Stones, like, I love Rolling Stones. I'd love to meet or Keith Richards, or basically anyone from Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
If I could just choose one, I would be happy with any.
What, and just sit in a room and just chat about stories and
I'd love that. That would be cool. I would have said David Bowie, but he's not longer here, is he?
No.
But if it's anyone dead or alive, David Bowie would be in there as well.
Yeah, cool. What is the most random impulse buy?
If my husband can hear this, he's probably laughing his head off, because I constantly buy impulse buy.
Are you constantly on Amazon just buying random stuff?
Yeah, so I tell this story all the time, but my husband came up to me the other day, and because I buy it on his Amazon because he has Prime.
Rookie mistake.
So next day delivery, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And he came up to me and he showed me like the Outlook calendar. And he said, "What do you think all those dots are?" And I was like, "I don't know what." He's like, "It's every day you've had an Amazon delivery." And it was like literally every day. I don't know. I really don't know what the most on, because
So would you say that you're an impulse buyer?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like,
you see an advert, oh, I want that.
I'm a salesperson's dream.
Yeah.
Here's an example, like, not something I bought, but that I nearly did last night. I recommended a shutter company to somebody.
Yeah.
And they text me saying, "Oh, we've gone with that shutter company and they want to give you £60 off because you recommended." So I come back home and I was like, we need to get some shutters because there's £60 off, like £800. And he was like, "We don't do shutters." Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I should be asking your husband this question then. I'm sure he could give me dig out some examples.
Yeah.
Okay, so what movie could you quote by heart? Or are you not a movie fan?
I'm a real movie fan.
So you're watching the movie and you've watched it a million times and you're like, you know what's coming up next, and you're just quoting it out.
So probably, I don't know if it's like every single one, but probably the most would be like, have you seen True Romance?
It's probably been on in the background when I'm supposed to be watching
my favourite film in the world, and I've watched it a lot, so I reckon I would be pretty good at that. I reckon there's also a film called With Nail and I, and me and my friends like drop quotes in that from all the time, so that would be another one, but probably True Romance.
Yeah, a chick flick then.
No, True Romance is like, it's a Quentin Tarantino, like, it's really cool film.
Okay.
Christine Slater and Patricia Arquette, it's really, really good. You should watch that.
Yeah, you're giving me quite a to-do list.
Yeah, no, you should watch it though, because it's a really, really good film.
Okay, I will. I'll put that on the list.
It's quite violent.
Well, Quentin Tarantino is well known for that, isn't he?
Yeah.
For his gory films and stuff like that. But yeah. What is the strangest food combination that you enjoy? When you were pregnant, did you have any?
No, I didn't. But like people always, I love cheese with Marmite.
Right,
And
okay.
people always used to go on about that, but now they make cheese and Marmite bites. So that tells me that it's not so unusual that they actually make them.
You could have been marketing that many years ago.
It's my invention. But I love those two things together.
Nice.
I'm not sure there's anything else too unusual, really. I love pineapple on pizza, which is quite controversial, isn't it? Like,
well,
not a lot of people love that.
Yeah, well, we had Tom on last time, and he said he has pineapple on his pizza. Doesn't matter what, it's not just ham and pineapple. Whatever pizza he
And
gets,
pineapple. That's the
doesn't
perfect
matter.
pizza.
He said even if it's tuna, he puts pineapple on it. I don't know. There's a line.
I go sweet corn with tuna,
Yeah.
but pepperoni and pineapple is delicious.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's not too bad. Okay, so if you could switch lives with any one person for one day, who would you choose?
Do you know who I'd choose? I'd choose someone who could sing really, really, like a really good singer, because I am a terrible, terrible singer. And I would love to go on stage and sing. So maybe someone like Aretha Franklin or Diana Ross, someone who's really, really good singer. So I could go on stage and sing like that and experience
and soak it up.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that answer. Okay, and finally for these questions is, where is your happy place?
I'm so lucky that I've got so many, like, my ultimate happy place is with my husband, Liam, Ellie and Connor, my kids. Like, when I'm with them, that's like bliss for me. But taking that away, the pole studio, that's a real happy place for me as well. Being with those women and doing that is really a happy place. But also holiday.
Actually, I realised I've missed the question here. What is your favourite holiday destination?
Well, so I absolutely love a Greek island because I love Greek food and they're always so beautiful. But the special holiday destination where you can't go too much because it's quite expensive would be New York.
Oh yeah, I love New York. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been twice, and the second time I went, I got married there. So it's obviously like
winter or summer?
In October.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So October is a really nice time to go to New York because it's still quite warm, but not like too hot like it is in summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm really excited. Next year, my daughter turns 21, and I'm taking her to New York for it. So that would be my third time. So you can't do it a lot. It's a special holiday, isn't it? You've got to save up for it and get ready for it. But that would probably be my special place. Yeah.
It's such a cool, fun place.
Yeah, and it's like you can be a million different people there, can't you? You could be like a really cheesy tourist with the Stockton Liberty hat on, or you could be in the East Village with the rock and rollers big. There's just like something for everyone. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and it really is the city that doesn't sleep. I remember because I went over there when I was doing Camp America, and we ended up staying in a hotel, and I couldn't sleep one night. It was about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So I went out onto Times Square, and it was like daytime. It was so many people, and it was quite cool at the same time. But yeah, it is true that they say it's the city that doesn't sleep.
And that feeling at night when you walk around the corner and end up on Times Square is just like, wow.
Yeah, I know. Especially when you're from Burnley. And you got these skyscrapers. It's so, especially because I'm only 18 at the time, so it was quite mesmerizing, shall we say. So right, moving on swiftly. So thanks, amazing answers, Danielle. We've got some crackers in there, and as you well know, we aren't just finished yet because we're going to enter this 60-second quick fire round. So What town or city were you born?
Luton.
What was your first job?
Waitress.
Who is your favourite Disney character?
Ariel.
What is your favourite movie genre?
Pulp.
How many pillows do you sleep with?
2.
What is your favourite zoo animal?
Lion.
What radio station do you listen to in the car?
Absolute 90s.
Where did you go on your last holiday?
Gran Canaria.
What's your favourite pizza topping?
Pepperoni and pineapple.
What is your favourite dessert?
Pecan pie with custard.
What time do you usually wake up in the morning?
6.
How do you prefer to exercise?
Oh, low hit.
What emoji do you use mostly?
Rolling around the floor laughing.
Something that always makes you smile.
My husband.
Oh, right. I don't know how many you got there. I'm going to have to tot them up because I skipped some by accident there because there was some double. I think that I think you may have beaten 12 there. So when
Oh my God, I'd be so happy if I have. I'm so competitive. And I'm going to go to the people who got 12 as well and go, ah.
It's Jess and Tom in Accrington.
Right.
So
Jess and Tom, watch this space.
So I think you got over 12. So what I'll do is when I edit this back, I'll obviously top them up and we will obviously let you know whether you are on the leaderboard. We've got like a little leaderboard that comes up. So it'll probably pop up here. So yeah, brilliant. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thanks for answering all those questions, Danielle. Was it as difficult or hard or because you were quite nervous at the beginning?
I was really nervous, but it's actually really fun. And I forgot what was happening, to be honest. It just felt like having a really good time with you. So I hope I don't cringe too much watching it back.
Oh no, it's really good. So yeah, so that is it for us. Until next time, I think we have Kath and Christy to do next. They're doing it as a duet. I have no. I don't know why they're doing it as a duet, but they are. They bullied me.
I'm glad I didn't have to follow those two because those two are ace and they're so funny. So that's going to be a really cool one to watch.
Yeah. I might need rescuing.
You definitely will need rescuing.
All right. So thanks for coming along and taking part. You can now relax and get away from me bombarding you with any more questions. So until next time. Thank you.